Y'all listening to the Whiskey and Insurance Podcast with your hosts Luke Eckley, Talbott Buford, and Marquan Hughes. Take a seat and take a sip. It's whiskey for the soul and insurance for the wallet.
Welcome back.
Oh, I like
Welcome
that.
back.
Yes. The what episode?
41.
41.
Yeah, to the 41st
41. My name's Talbott.
Stop.
I'm John Lane.
That's literally not what I said.
Okay, we're not gonna bog you guys down with our banter. I know we do that often, but we're gonna get to this business. We know what we're talking about. We're talking about how to scale a business and be efficient in scaling a business, especially when you're growing and when you're growing rapidly.
Yeah.
And so when you're bringing on new people, things of that nature, how do you scale that? What are some things that you need to put in place? What are some things that you need to have? And I think it'd be a great episode, especially for business owners and you know, individuals that own their own business, etc. And so let's jump into that. Let's get some tools and some tutelage for those individuals that may need it. So
Tribulations. So how do you scale a business, Mark?
That's a good question.
Recently, let's jump into what we've been doing recently.
Yep.
Jump right into the details.
So recently, we have a lot of moving parts, right?
Yeah.
So Apollo is growing rapidly. You hear us talk about Apollo a lot. That's our sponsor. So maybe this is too early in the video, but shout out Apollo. They help us with the podcast and making sure that we have the equipment, cameras, marketing team behind it. So we're very appreciative. So there you go. There we use that plug it in there. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I think how do you scale a business? That's a broad question. But I think for us specifically as Apollo, we are bringing on a lot of people. Right now, we just recently brought on about 25 new agents. Yeah.
Medicare 65.
Absolutely.
25. Really?
25, and it doesn't.
And we still are searching for a couple more people.
We are. Absolutely.
If you all want to work here,
please come. But
we're running out of space.
Yeah.
And there's no room on the pod. There's no room. It's just an empty chair over here. What are you talking about that?
So we have to figure out ways to be able to reach these people without being right in front of them 24/7, being on call 24/7. So we have to work smarter, right? Not harder. And so that's what it's all about, being efficient. So different things that we're introducing. We have I think it's like an Apollo Academy where we house a lot of videos and things that we pre-record to make sure, like we pre-record like how to enroll into these policies or how to do this, how to do that, just so they can have a database full of information that they can always reference if we're not available. That's efficiency, right? They can always have it. They can go back to it and reference that. And so just simple nuances like that, it makes it a lot better, and it makes leading and training and teaching go a long way. And so
you have to implement processes and processes that are duplicatable at the end of the day. So, from a sales centric piece, we're bringing on some outside agents that work from home and that are all over the place. We got them in Florida and Wisconsin and Minnesota, Nashville, one's down in Louisiana. So they're all over the place. So, but the key is you can do a training, you can do a live training, but then it's super important that they have a training that's around the same topic that they can come back to and tune into, because you're not with them 24/7. So you can't just correct right then and there if they do something wrong or answer a question right then and there because they're remote.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to duplicate that process, and you got to be able to implement what we're doing from an Apollo Academy, which has been super cool to see. So we've got some cool videos. Kyle, our marketing team, has been behind it, a lot of it, to just be able to implement across the board. So like even in our FMO channel that we have, where we have got 7,500 independent agents that come through us for a contract or another, they also need training videos on how to sell or what products, especially selling around how to sell that product. They don't necessarily need to know how to sell, but how do you sell this product in particular? Right. And those videos are super, super important to continue to do that and be mindful of that.
Yeah, and I think it's crucial that you don't just flood them with just information. You have to flood them with the right information, right? You have to flood them with what they need. Because you can put out video after video after video after video, but if it has no substance, then we're wasting our time. Yeah. And it's not beneficial to the user. And so I think it's important to make sure that we flood them and give them the education and the pieces that they need in order to have access to.
For sure.
Because that's what it's all about. The more they have access to this information, right, the easier it's going to be for them. Right? The more less stress that they're going to feel. Oh, don't worry about it. I can just go to here, click on a video, watch it, and I understand it now. And so the more we give them the right content, the right videos, the better that they will be and the better that we'll be in order to scale the business. Going back to scaling the business, you need people that are going to pick up fast. You need people that's going to be able to pivot and get to where we need them to go. And again, education is a big piece of any job, and so flooding them with the right educational pieces, videos, and knowledge is crucial.
I think it goes back to a lot of what it boils down to is confidence too, because like when you have all that utilization for them and all the steps that when you provide the steps for them to be successful, they're a lot more comfortable, and so it promotes them to be able to work harder and work better. Reason being is because it's just like when you have all those videos, like you were saying, not everyone is going to be able to be, you're not going to be with them every step of the way because they're at home.
Correct.
And so it's one of those things that when you have all the videos and everything ready, it's going to allow them to be more wildly successful because they're more confident with what they're trying to sell.
I think another part of scaling the business, though, you have to have, Luke, and you can contest this. You have to have the right people in the right places in order to scale a business.
Right. Yep.
You have to have key members of your organization, right? You have to have people that are going to get the job done and knows what they're doing. They're going to dive deep. And then you got to be able to delegate. That's a big part of it. Being able to delegate. Yeah, you can have 6 leaders in a room, right? But if 6 leaders is doing the same thing, then we're wasting time and we're wasting energy and resources. So who's delegating what work needs to be done and who's doing what and how can we get to the end goal?
Yeah.
And so for me, I think the biggest thing is keeping the right people in the right places and making sure that we're delegating the work that needs to be done, or we're not living in efficiency.
Yep.
We're wasting time.
Yep. Absolutely. You have to have the right leaders in place.
No.
You've got to be able to, I've talked on this before because just for instance, if I just use myself as an example, I can't be everywhere at one spot, which is fine. Any business can be successful and not have to have that. But I've got to be able to have other people that I'm reinvesting into or duplicating. It's always about the process and application. We talk about this in the leadership all the time.
Absolutely.
We need to multiply in other people. And we need to develop more leaders, and those leaders will develop other leaders, and those leaders will develop other leaders. And that is what's important. But there's no way to develop leaders if you're not investing into other people.
Yeah, you got to do it from the top down.
And that's why, like, I know if Mark's in an interview and I'm not in that interview, I trust 100% that he's going to make the right decision in the interview. If that person needs to be at Apollo. Because he cited to, I don't know how many interviews with me. He knows exactly what I look for. He knows the questions I ask. And one of the cool things that is a strength for Mark is he can read people, read really, really well. So I think just being able to use people's strengths, know where they need to be at within the business, and then putting them in the right spot to be the most successful is super important in building part of that process. So hence, when you're onboarding agents, I know that I've got this leader that can handle those agents, and I don't have to spend 1 minute worrying if they are getting the correct training, the proper protocol, whatever, for them to be successful. I already know that it's in place, it's good to go. Rather than me having to spend 4 hours to make sure that it's operating and doing well, then that takes 4 hours away from something else. It's not like I'm not using the 4 hours, I'm just sitting here just jacking around. No, I'm doing something.
Right.
Is it that, or is it something else that moves the business forward? And that's what a lot of businesses struggle with. And they struggle with being like, a lot of people want control, right, over every aspect of the business. And the reality is you can't do that. When you have 100+ people work, you can't control 100 people. It just does what it's going to do. And it's all about, once again, we've talked about this on past episodes, having a mission statement that pulls everybody together. You have to have something that's motivating. You've got to be able to have the processes in place that no matter the department, whether it's sales, marketing, back office, you name it, that will implement and hold accountable those people, period. And if you don't, that holds your business back, and that's where you can't have 25% growth or 30% growth in a single year over year. Since 2017, I think we've had, I'd be shocked if it wasn't above 30% average growth across the last setup.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like this last year, we had 28. I just calculated the math. We had 28% growth.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
That's
Right? And it's harder. The bigger you get,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
harder to
Those
get that
margins
number.
are smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's way easier to scale from 1 million to 3 million and have 70% growth
Yeah.
than 10 million to 14 million,
Right.
or whatever that number ends up being, right? So that scaling process and being able to you have to have the right people in place. You have to.
I want to piggyback off that. That was great. I agree 100%. People, again, first. If you don't have the right people, we can't push anything else forward.
For sure.
But I think another thing, including the people that you have in place, they have to be innovative, right? You have to. They have to be able to think creatively, create new ideas, concepts. They have to want to learn. And I know we talked about this on a previous episode, but you might as well hit it again. You have to be creative, new ideas, and bring it to the table, because that's the only way that we can scale if we're ahead of the curve. If you have people in the room, right, that are really seeking, okay, how can we be more efficient in this area? Okay, how can we move this piece to here to make sure that we're ahead of the game over here?
100%.
We have to have people like that are always constantly thinking.
Yeah.
And so that's something.
Because
that a
not
lot
one
of people
person
miss.
can do all that.
Not at all.
It takes an entire village to move
Yeah.
an entire
There you
organization
go.
forward.
There you go.
And it takes everybody moving to the same common goal. They see the vision of where we're trying to go.
Yeah.
And it takes a guy like Mark that's looking at one process of the business, say, oh, I know we can get 20% more here, or 15% here.
Yeah.
And it takes him seeing that vision, boom, implementing.
Yeah.
Not even having to wait on another leader or approval of different things. It's just like, hey, I know we need this, and I know it improves productivity. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. I'm gonna piggyback.
Have
off
to
the
be innovative. Have
Yeah.
to be.
I'm gonna piggyback off the piggyback. I think the word you're
Piggyback
trying
on
to
the
find.
piggyback on the piggyback.
I think the word you're trying to find was adapt,
That too.
because you have to adapt. You have to be able to adapt to what we're changing. Because, like I said, the industry that we're in, especially, it's always changing. And we're all back to growing a business and scaling a business. You have to be able to adapt with the business that is happening, because each year it's going to change. You know, and some years are going to be worse than others, and some years are going to be better than others. So you have to be able to adapt and be able to do that. So.
No, that's perfect. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Anything that you guys think that we need to lead? I know that we're making this a quicker episode, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I think we always will bring you the content that we feel is value. So if we feel that's a 25-minute value content, boom, you're going to get 25 minutes of value. If we feel that's 45 minutes of value, you're going to get 45 minutes of value. It just depends. What are some things that you guys think that we're maybe leaving out from a scalability perspective? We talked about processes. We talked about people. We've talked about products. Maybe not. Maybe have we talked about products?
We haven't talked about products.
So, out of the people, processes, we've talked about those two things. The third and last thing you got to be able to have is you've got to be able to have a product that's marketable.
There you go.
Okay, trust.
Yes. You know, it doesn't matter what, industry you're in. You've got to have a product that's marketable. Something that most people are going to find value out of. If you don't have that, it's like, we could be trying to sell glasses or snow to an whatever we're trying to do. You have to have a product that's marketable overall. So it's kind of the 3 Ps.
3 Ps.
People, process, products.
I like that. I like
3
3
Ps.
That's right.
There you go. 3 Ps.
Yeah. People, products, process.
See that? I like that. Absolutely. I agree. I mean, that was spot on, Luke. I think products, it's major. You have to have a good product, right? None of this works if you're not giving the people what they need.
I'm just glad we got essentially all the products.
Yeah.
Health insurance.
And we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
And versatile, right? Versatility. We have a lot of different options, not just one option fits all, right? And so we have many different products and that we're able to give to our clientele and make sure we customize it how they need it. So it's crucial. Products is crucial.
No, I think I'm gonna leave it with people though, because I think that obviously that is the foundation, like we were saying, of scaling a business. You have to understand your products and how the people are going to escalate the products.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the right people in place, then you're not going to be able to scale a product. And they have to understand what the product is and have faith in the product and be able to sell the product.
Correct.
Right? And that all boils down to the type of person that you are obviously employing. So
Yeah.
I think people is essentially the foundation.
Like you reach a certain amount of people that I would never reach.
Exactly.
And you're going to reach a certain amount of people that I would never reach. Anxiety
Vice
takes
versa. Yep.
And so that's super important as we scale, that we are implementing the strengths of those people that are within the organization.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing where to place those strengths, use those strengths, and give the people motivation to do it daily.
Personality.
At the end of the day. So I'll leave everybody that's got a business or operating a business, and maybe they're struggling to scale it. I would leave with one fact or one thing to think about. If you're struggling to scale, it's probably because there's something that you are controlling daily that requires a lot of your time that you haven't been able to release or give to someone else to do. So evaluate that. I think that's super important to get away from the business. You can't do it. Don't try and evaluate this at noon or 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 a.m. in the middle of the day. Take some time. It's 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. There's no distraction. People are out at dinner. You're not going to have anything that's going to be coming into the inbox. It's going to be like super, super vital at that point in time. Get away. Focus on your business. Look at what's going on and say, all right, how can I scale this faster than what I'm currently scaling? What can I release or give to someone else that I'm currently doing that would allow me or free up time for me to grow myself? Because the problem with most business owners or entrepreneurs is they aren't delegating.
Yeah, delegate.
And you have to be able to delegate so that it frees you time up. Because at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, you're the visionary. Your employees don't set the vision.
You do.
So, that's a reality. You do.
It leaks from you.
Correct. Vision leaks. 100%.
Yeah.
So if you're not spending time on your vision and accomplishing your vision, you've got to be able to delegate so that you guys can accomplish the vision together. Boom. Boom. I'll leave that with everybody.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
We'll leave it at that.
Whiskey for the soul.
Insurance.
Till next time.
Until next time.
Appreciate it.
This has been the Whiskey and Insurance Podcast, brought to you by Apollo Health Insurance. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on new episodes.